The NFL playoffs are on the horizon and 14 teams will be competing for one trophy. There will be teams that think they deserve the Lombardi and probably do, but ultimately only one team can come out of the 2020 seasons as champions. Teams atop each conference, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers, Kansas City Chiefs, and the New Orleans Saints, all want to start the decade out on a high note, but sadly, not all of them will be able to finish the job. While all four of these teams are great in their own rights, and several other contenders for that matter too, the Kansas City Chiefs are destined to repeat as champions. In today's video, we're going to discuss why they will repeat, how they will get there, and how each conference in the playoffs will turn out. And if you guys missed Wednesday's video, I will be giving away a Saquon Barkley autographed jersey to one lucky subscriber if we hit 18,000 before the new year. As I always say, the support is very much appreciated, and I want to show you guys that it is, so hopefully we do hit 18,000 before the new year. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel as each only take a second to do. Now let's begin. Now for the Chiefs to even get back to the Super Bowl, let alone win it and go back-to-back, they have to get through the AFC first. There is one remaining undefeated team in the NFL left, which of course is the 9-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are obviously no slouch, as getting to 9-0 is simply not a coincidence. They're a great team in their own rights, and although people like to discredit them by saying, oh, they struggled against the Cowboys and needed the refs to beat the Ravens, again, other people's words, not mine, they are still 9-0. And not only that, but their schedule is rather favorable, as they can realistically, and as crazy as this sounds, go 15-1. They already beat the Ravens once and get to play them at home again, and play a combination of teams like the Jags, the football team, and the Bengals down the stretch. At Buffalo will certainly be their toughest test, but there's no reason they can't win that. Yes, it will be a tough game, I'm not even trying to dispute that, but either team can win that game. Having said that, there is a possibility the Steelers go into the playoffs with either a 15-1 or 16-0 record, which if they go in at 16-0, would obviously put the Chiefs at the number 2 seed and have them play 3 games just to get to the Super Bowl. For as good as the Steelers are, I think the Chiefs are on another level. The Chiefs have outgained them by nearly 600 yards, have averaged a whole yard more per play on offense, have less turnovers, and of course, have the greatest player in football on their team. Now for other teams in the AFC that they would have to potentially go through, and we'll start with another AFC North team, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. The Chiefs have never lost to Lamar Jackson, and it got to the point where Lamar flat out said that they are his kryptonite. He wasn't asked that question by a reporter, he openly said that. The Chiefs manhandled them when they played earlier this year, as Patrick Mahomes threw for nearly 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, and they were up 17 points at half. This was truly one of Lamar Jackson's worst games as a pro, as he threw the ball 28 times that night and failed to throw for 100 yards. If the Ravens make the playoffs, which I think they will, I don't think they're going to be able to hang with the Chiefs, and a lot of that will be due to Big Brother having their number. I think the media will be so far in Lamar's head with the MVP Mahomes and the fact he's never beaten them that this game will be over before it starts. Not only that, but the Ravens since that game are down a franchise left tackle, and simply put, Lamar has struggled as of late. Lamar's PFF passing grade as of Friday morning is 22nd this year compared to 5th last year. Could this be an entertaining game if they played? Yes, it very much could, but do you realistically think the Ravens can go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs in the playoffs after how much they've struggled this year? To me, the answer is very clear, and that answer is unfortunately for Ravens fans, no. Now heading to the AFC East to discuss other teams that would have to face them, and we'll start with the Bills. These teams, like the Chiefs and Ravens, have already played this year, with the Chiefs coming out on top. They won 26-17 in Buffalo Stadium, and with Kansas City being 8-1 and Buffalo at 7-3, Kansas City would have to lose 3 times, and Buffalo would have to win out in order for them to meet again in Buffalo. Translation, if these teams play again this year, it will be in Kansas City with everything on the line. While Josh Allen and his team will be perennial contenders for the next 4 to 5 years, and quite honestly, possibly longer than that, I don't see any way they go into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs in a playoff game. I think it's more than fair to say they would play a better game against them than the Ravens would, but ultimately, we are discussing going into Mahomes' kingdom and knocking him off of his throne. I think this would be an incredible game, don't get me wrong, but simply put, I don't see Buffalo, or really any other team for that matter, going into Kansas City and beating the Chiefs. Now to the surprise of the year, the Miami Dolphins. They are a good team coached by Brian Flores and have found their franchise quarterback in rookie Tua Tagovailoa. They will have the opportunity to play the Chiefs in a few weeks, and what is to note is they play the Saints directly after they play the Dolphins, the Chiefs that is. So in theory, if Drew Brees is back by then, this could be a trap game. I don't think the Chiefs will overlook the Dolphins though, but you really never know in the NFL. Could the Dolphins knock off the Chiefs when they do play in the regular season? Yes. Absolutely, we have seen them knock off teams like the Patriots before, and we saw them manhandle the 49ers earlier this year. But playing the Chiefs in a regular season home game is different than going to Arrowhead on the road in the postseason, which is what they would have to do. And as bright of a future as Tua has, I would put the chances of them going into Arrowhead and beating him in the playoffs this year next to none. And to finish the AFC, the Raiders beat them once, so let's be honest, they're not going to beat them again, and especially not in the postseason. Credit to them for doing so, but the Chiefs simply will not let it happen again. The Titans, who knows with them right now with how they're playing, because they can't stop anybody, let alone one of the best offenses in football. Indy would be an interesting game, but Phil Rivers at 39 years old, which he will be by the playoffs as he has a December birthday, leading the Colts into KC in January, I just don't think is a reality. I don't think this needs to be said, but I'm going to anyway. If the Browns somehow make the playoffs as a wild card, Baker Mayfield isn't going to outduel Patrick Mahomes in his stadium in the playoffs. And if that offends any Browns fans, I'm sorry, it really shouldn't. And if you want to say your team's quarterback is Kirk Cousins, go ahead. I'm not sitting here saying we're running the table and he'll win a Super Bowl MVP though, so please know that. Side note, I think it's hilarious when you post something about a team or player and people immediately retaliate with Kirk sucks or something against your team whenever they weren't being discussed at all. Anyways, the Browns, Colts, and Titans won't go into Arrowhead and beat them in January. And so this goes for anything I've said so far. If I'm wrong on any of this, and the Ravens, for example, go in and Lamar plays his tail off and gets a playoff win over the Chiefs, then good for him, honestly. I would welcome being wrong, as I do want Lamar to do well and to succeed. But now that we have the AFC out of the way, it is time to dive into the NFC. So when looking at the NFC, we of course have to look at Tom Brady's Bucks. Yes, they got absolutely destroyed a few Sundays ago against the Saints, much to everyone's surprise, but I will be genuinely shocked if that happened again, and especially in the playoffs. The NFC is wide open as Drew Brees went down Sunday with an injury, and at this point in time, we don't know how long he will be out. We of course hope he recovers fast and ultimately gets a chance at ring number 2, but with the uncertainty now at the position for the Saints, this really complicates things from the NFC side. Now, I think it's fair to say the Saints are not going to win a Super Bowl this year if they are quarterbacked by either Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. Then of course we have the Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals, and Rams to discuss in today's video. This conference can go many ways, as the Packers beat the Saints early in the year. Yes, they were without Michael Thomas, but a win's a win. Then got mauled by the Bucks 38-10. The Saints, on the other hand, beat the Bucks by 35 points, and as we said, lost to the Packers. Seattle at this point, I think, is out largely to do how bad their defense is. Yes, they beat the Cardinals on Thursday night, but can they go into other team stadiums and win multiple games? I think they have the best shot out of anybody doing it, but going there and doing that is an incredibly tough task to accomplish. With how the NFC West is now, I do think they will come out on top, and that the Rams will for sure have a wildcard spot. Arizona could fall out and Minnesota could enter, given the team's remaining schedules, but either way, the Cardinals nor the Vikings are going to win the conference by winning 3 straight games on the road in the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. And while we're here on teams that won't win the conference, the Eagles or whoever comes out of the NFC East won't either. And that is today's segment on the NFC East. So as of now, we don't know Drew's health, but what I would say is since we don't know the extent and how much this could linger down the stretch, they are out for today's video. Could Drew be healthy and could they come back? Yes, 100%. But that narrows the NFC down to 3 or 4 teams for today's video, which would be the Bucks, Packers, Seahawks, and Rams. Now how this plays out would be key, because the Rams will cause problems for anybody due to their defense. Aaron nor Tom, when they're being rushed every single play, handle the pressure well, and after a while you can really see in the body language that it changes between these guys, Aaron more so than Tom. But can they pressure them enough to the point where LA comes in on the road and walks out with a win? The key would be to hold them at under 20 points, and I don't know if they would be able to do that, much less in consecutive weeks. So largely due to the Rams having to go on the road for 3 straight playoff wins, I don't think they'll represent the NFC in Super Bowl 55. As of now, if I had to pick a team to win the NFC, it would be Green Bay, who has struggled a little bit in their own rights. And if this is how it plays out and how Super Bowl 55 would go, I don't think Green Bay would be able to keep up with Kansas City in any way, shape, or form. They can't stop the run, and we've seen what Clyde Edwards-Helaire can do, and of course the rest of the offense for that matter. It would be a fairly high-scoring Super Bowl with the Chiefs coming out on top. Largely due to opposing AFC teams not being able to keep up with them and the uncertainty surrounding the NFC, the Kansas City Chiefs are destined to win Super Bowl 55 and repeat as champions. And with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second to do, and it helps the support of the growth of the channel a ton. I will see you guys next time. Have a great weekend.